It's a little bit of waste because Fav is going to easily be able to take out these towers, but you know, it gives Sky a little bit of an advantage, saying, okay, I know that it's coming and it's not a big deal. He's kind of investing in that knowledge and that delay to not allow Fav to easily rebuild that expansion, or quickly rebuild that expansion. So taking a look at food counts right now, we're at 28 for the human player, or for Sky, and 33 for Fav. I don't know who to say who has a good advantage at this point. I would assume that Sky has a better advantage at this point, being as he still has this slightly, or a pretty good fortified natural or expansion here. Although he did lose a lot of peasants there, and he's since having to reconstruct them. He was a little bit delayed actually in constructing those. But he still has a good bit of gold in that, 3,000 gold in that expansion compared to 5,000 gold in the expansion for Fav. So if Fav can get this expansion up and running, and eventually he actually will, and if he is able to take out that expansion for Sky, it's going to kind of be the checkmate and keep that going. Sky does end up fortifying that more with some ivory towers on his Mountain King we just saw there. He's going to upgrade those to more a guard tower, or no, 2 arcanes. That's kind of a weird choice, but that works for him. It's Sky. So the creeping at this point, obviously his Archmage is at level 5. It's not necessarily to give his Archmage more levels, it's there for his Mountain King. He should actually be backing his Archmage out so his Archmage doesn't soak up any experience. Correct me if I'm wrong on that though. I believe even if you have a level 5 hero, although it's not getting experience, I think it still kind of hurts the experience that your secondary and third heroes are getting there. So basically he was just doing that for gold and to try to get a little bit more levels, get his Mountain King and Paladin to level 4 and 5, which would be really, really nice, since he is dealing with a almost level 6 Lich, level 6 Death Knight, so we're going to have level 3 Coil and level 3 Nova to have to deal with. We have level 3 Nova already on that Lich, but still, dealing with a level 6 Lich is a lot more difficult than having to deal with a level 5 one. Oh god, I've kind of gone off on a tangent. My voice is starting to kill me, but hopefully I've made a good enough points for you guys to learn a little bit here. Now Sky ends up making a good bit of gyrocopters here, and this is a little bit, either he's had them from before, but it's a little bit of a mistake here. Fav doesn't have a lot of destroyers here and a lot of air, and those gyrocopters don't have a lot of use at this point because they don't have Sky doesn't research that bomb upgrade, so allows them to hit ground units. So basically he's going to have 12 food of this army here that really can't do much. They're going to scout out some shades and stuff, but he doesn't really have a lot of ground army, which he's going to need to deal with the remaining fiends that are around, and to kind of give those undead heroes something else to target. So we're actually pretty even here if you kind of think about it. You know, 2 fiends isn't that much. The undead doesn't have a lot of an army, and it's kind of slow building here while each player kind of regains their economic standing here. And at this point in the game, the late game, it's who can fortify their structure here at the end and, you know, make the best use of their economy, and while at the same time kind of balancing an offense and defense, you know, defending your expansion and your economy while stopping your opponent from having that economic advantage. And whoever can really get that is a big deal, you know, here. So Fav doing a really good job bringing his Lich just to the border of his base and using his ultimate to try to force Sky to come fight here. And again, this is Fav saying, okay, I need you to fight this. I need you to not, you know, take my expansion down, and I want to force your expansion, so you're going to fight this. He does have these, you know, guard towers up 2 and 2 arcane, which is going to be nice. Undead players, obviously, now I see the point of having those arcane towers. Mana burning those undead heroes is really, really nice. Fav took a lot of damage on his Lich right there from the towers, and pretty much soaked up all his mana, taking the hit while he was sitting there channeling his ultimate. So not looking too hot for that Lich at the moment. At the same time, you know, Sky's trying to move around with his Zeppelin and with his gyrocopters to try to decide what he wants to do. He's kind of went back and forth a little bit here. I think he was going to end up trying to put some pressure on that expansion by Fav, since it's really not defended at all right now, and without his Zeppelin, Fav doesn't have a really easy way of actually getting to it. Fav does have a Zeppelin, so he's okay, I think, for now. Let's see what's going on here. Still, again, it's just decision-making process here. Both players trying to let the other player make the first move and then kind of counter that and then quickly make that offensive push that they need to make it happen for him. So, God, I think I went over a lot of the stuff I wanted to go over in this replay. In my series, I'm probably going to end up repeating myself a lot. I want Undeads to be able to figure out good ways for themselves to counter the towers. I had another replay, and I might include it in the zip file. I probably won't, though, because I think I might want to commentate on it, where the Undead player ends up kind of ignoring the towers altogether throughout the majority of the game, and the human player ends up spending a lot of his resources on towers and fortifying his army, but the undead player says, okay, spend all your money on towers. I'm not going to deal with them. I'm only going to deal with your army, and I will only deal with your towers when I have a distinct advantage, when I have chain morph destroyers, or when I have a huge army that can easily take them out. You know, when you're completely dead and all I have to deal with is your towers, that's when I'm going to deal with your mass towers. So also some tower usage when they use siege. Actually, this game's pretty much over. I'm going to go off on a little bit more of a tangent on how undead players can deal with all the human players and their towers. It's very common. I mean, the last, I don't know, 10, 15 replays I've been watching on the replays at WCReplays.com have all been, you know, mass towers by human players, and, you know, winning major events and winning, you know, just winning any type of games. You know, it's professional players that are doing this. It's mainly, you know, some of the bigger name players like Shriek and like THOO, and although he's kind of innovative, so I don't know if he's doing it a lot, but, you know, obviously we see Sky doing it, you know, Insomnia, some of the top human players, you know, it's been kind of become the regular practice. Anyway, so we see towers a lot from the pros, which means the semi-pro or average, you know, human players are going to kind of imitate them, and they say, oh, wow, towers are so effective versus undead. I'm going to start doing that. Undead players are going to whine because, oh, I can see pro undead players having such a hard time. That means I'm going to have a hard time, you know, blah, blah, blah. It kind of works out for them. So different ways you can deal with it. I think Siege is severely underrated by undead players. Siege being their meat wagons. And meat wagons, you know, they're pretty good. They have a really good range on them. They don't do tons of siege. They're siege units that do better. But, you know, they do a really good job of picking them off. And if you can kind of control them right and use them correctly, you know, time it when you bring them in, it'll work really good for you. This would have been a turning point, by the way, or back to the replay real quick, in the game. If Fob was to lose his Death Knight at that point in the game, he doesn't have any amount of money to resurrect him. Having just a level 6 Lich and a level 3 Dreadlord easily would have been dominated by the 3 human heroes, even though they are lower level. So that TP usage pretty much saved him the game. He did end up, he does have a Potion of Healing. I think he switched that off from one of his other heroes on his Death Knight, but back to the game, man. See how it kind of went back and forth, and you don't really know who's going to win. If I hadn't told you, you know, it kind of went back and forth, and I think Sky made pretty good comebacks, but all the little things that Fob did throughout the match ended up working out for him. So, back to you undead players. Again, there's lots of different ways to deal with it. If you feel confident in your offensive abilities, the pressure on the human player throughout the game, feel free to stay in his expansion and stay in some towers in some risky situations. It just depends on how you can deal with it. For the most of us, the human player wants you to deal that, and unless you can deal with that yourself, it's going to be very, very risky to play offensively versus a lot of those towers. So, final move here that Fob does to win, sleeps that Paladin so he cannot heal the Archmage, and the Archmage ends up running away, being chased by a level 6 Death Knight with more than enough mana. Coil easily goes down, so this game's going to be over. Again, I keep switching back and forth to the replay because I'm kind of watching and talking at the same time. But I want you undead players to know that there's a lot of different ways you can deal with it, and you just got to kind of figure the one that works for you. I can show you the ways that pros do it. I can show you the ways that, you know, average players are doing it and having their success. You know, obviously showing you replays where it works is a big thing. So thanks again for listening to my audio commentary. Look forward to my next one. Again, I'm not sure what it's going to be. I'll probably, like I said, switch back and forth to everything, but I'd like to probably continue this series, so definitely let me know what you think about me focusing more on the undead and human matches in regards to towers specifically. You can either PM me or leave it in the comments, whatever you guys want. Thanks a lot for listening again. Talk to you guys later.